Hey everyone, Adam here. Welcome back to another video. This one, we got an exciting one. We're going to be going over 9 tips for Shopify store owners. If you go through all this video and go through all the tips, I guarantee you'll learn at least one thing, is my little promise to you, to help your Shopify store grow more profitably. If you haven't heard of me before, I've actually been in the e-commerce space working with Shopify brands for basically pretty much just touched shy of 8 years, January 2017. So I know a thing or two and learned many things over this 8 years so far. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So number one, I see not a lot of Shopify store owners even know about this metric, but I actually think it's incredibly valuable, is track your revenue per session. So basically it's calculated by dividing your revenue divided by your sessions. Now you might be wondering, why is this even important? Well, it's important so that you can start improving it and making sure your store is more profitable. So I would say a good benchmark to aim for is at least $3 revenue per session. So let's just say, for example, you have $100,000 in revenue. Basically your sessions, you want them to be, we just go ahead and do it right now. So 100,000 and then divided by a $3 session, you'd want to have 33,000 sessions to hit that $3 benchmark. Now, we have some brands that are basically at more like a $5 revenue per session, and that's like 20,000 sessions and you generate $100,000. So if you're actually closer to or above $5, that's really good. And the reason why this is actually really important as well is if you're setting paid traffic, so it's really all a numbers game. So let's just take like an average cost per click of $1, right? And you have a revenue per session of $2. So if you're spending traffic and you're getting traffic for $1, and then they're going to the site and they're spending $2 on average, you're basically getting a 2x, spread on that essentially. And then obviously you have to minus your cost of goods sold, shipping, etc. So you really have to either, at that point, you got to either lower your cost per click and drive traffic more affordably, qualified traffic, or you got to raise your revenue per session. Now, the way to improve it, it's really 2 ways. Either improve your average order value, or you improve your conversion rate, or you do a bit of both, to be honest. But what's interesting and why this is the key metric is because you might do some split testing, change some things around, and maybe what it does is it actually bumps up your conversion rate a decent amount, but then it actually lowers your average order value slightly, right? So you might have actually taken a hit on your average order value that's just a random example. But then your revenue per session actually goes up. So that's actually a win in my books. So track your revenue per session, and things that get tracked get improved. So that's a cheesy little line there, but to be honest, it's kind of true. Number 2, your biggest lever on profit is your gross margins, okay? So I'd say, honestly, if you can aim for as close to or above 80% gross margins, you're in a really good spot. Those are just incredible margins. And really the 2 ways that you can really improve your gross margin is really just increasing your price of your products, or decreasing costs, or a combination of both, okay? And if you really think about it, the biggest and most valuable companies in the world have the best gross margins. You take all the tech companies, you take, Apple, basically all the tech companies, they basically have pretty much 100% gross margins because it's literally just software essentially. And they always have the best margins. You look at the biggest brands in the world, like Nike, Lululemon, their gross margins are ridiculous. I mean, you look at Nike, they sell their shoes for like $180 and they just create them for pennies on the dollar, to be honest. It's ridiculous. So obviously, economies of scale and all those kind of things, but you just have to kind of factor it in. And if you can figure a way to get 80% gross margins, you're going to be in a really good spot. A couple of random examples, I know just because I've seen the CEO post about it. Ridge Wallet is an example where they have 80% gross margins, okay? So they manufacture their wallets overseas, and they sell them for like $200, right? And so and it's also pretty light, it's easy to ship, and so that's how they get those kind of margins. And what ends up happening too is, if you have 80% gross margins, I'm not saying you have to, but just something to aim for, you can literally spend like 50% of your revenue on marketing. So let's say you're doing $100,000 a month and you spend 50 on marketing, right? So you spend 50 grand a month, and then basically 20% is going to COGS and shipping. You still have 30% contribution margin, which is basically your COGS minus your ad spend, essentially, or your marketing spend, if you will. And you basically have 30% left over for, basically operational costs and just bottom line profit. So that's insane. And that's like if you're spending 50% of your revenue on marketing, which is a lot. That is a lot. But That is the magic of having higher gross margins, and it is the biggest lever, if you will, on your profit. If you go from a 50% gross margin to 70%, it's actually not a 20% increase, it's actually a double up. So it's really, really, really incredible. Okay. Number 3, make sure your hero products are differentiated. By the way, hero products are basically like your main heroes, like your main SKUs that just drive most of the revenue. And you need to make sure they're differentiated. And also, if possible, be in a lower competitive industry, basically staying away from beauty, fashion, etc. Let's be honest, those are just the most the most competitive spaces. There's just no shadow of doubt. And you want to just really have a unique selling point. So here's some good examples. Socks made with alpaca fiber. So this brand here, Hollow Socks, definitely check them out. The founder is just absolutely dialed. A guy named Zach, and they basically got that unique selling point of having alpaca fiber on them, which makes it differentiated. And then they also have tailored it towards kind of the outdoor, blue collar. Well, blue collar has been really their main audience, but then they've done hunting and golf. It's really one of those products, they take it and they can kind of market it to different audiences, which is really, really cool. Next one here, weighted cooling blanket, right? So not just a weighted blanket, but also a cooling aspect of it. Hush is really what just absolutely just hush their revenue. No, I'm kidding. That was actually bad. But yeah, basically it really honestly exploded them. Once they had basically the weighted blankets and they got these cooling weighted blankets, this thing has, 2,300 reviews. This thing is just,
are you looking for the benefits of a hush blanket?
And that's because they have a really good unique selling point, and it's also just not too competitive. Another one, pillowcase or pillowcase. I'm not sure which way to pronounce it, but this is basically the world's first truly sustainable phone case. At least that's how they kind of position it. It's something new in the market, and rather than just making a regular phone case and try to make it stronger than OtterBox or do what I mean, they go for that that basic methodology and that unique selling point. So those are some good examples. Here's some bad examples. If you're selling a dog harness with nothing unique about it, I mean, you're literally in such a competitive space. You can literally just go to the store and buy it. There's nothing unique about it. It's just not going to scale. Number 2 is, sunglasses that just look similar to every other sunglasses brands. It's just a bad example. Like you're just going to be climbing an uphill battle. Third example, hair care with basically same ingredients as every other brand or no differentiating ingredient or anything like that. Good luck. I mean, it's insanely competitive. If there's nothing really stands out, it's just gonna be so hard for you. So yeah, hopefully that kind of clears it up of some good examples and some bad examples as well. Number 4, acquire customers with Meta and Google. So what I'd recommend is honestly just forget about every other platform until you're at least at 8 figures. Just focus on Meta and Google. Like they literally have been around for over 2 decades. They have most amount of data. They're just the most profitable to advertise on. They're literally just the best platforms, in my opinion. So I really don't think you need to expand out until, you're at least at 8 figures. And diversify only to, their platforms once you need more eyeballs, like the TikToks, the Pinterest, the Snapchats, which also have some good videos on the channel as well for those. So yeah, that is my opinion on that, and it's worked really well for us. Number 5, create a lot of quality content. In my opinion, here in 2024, going into 2025, as an e-commerce brand, you really have to become a media company. It's just the fact of the matter. And really the thing about content is it just can be used for so much, like ads, organic, email, and website. It's just like one piece of content can only be like chopped up and iterated on and all that kind of stuff, but it also can just be used on all these different channels. Like that's why content is it's so incredibly important, okay? In terms of content, here's kind of my playbook going into 2025. I actually made a video kind of walking through this. I would forget about, just user-generated content that just isn't authentic and just too much B-roll and editing with captions and just too scripted out. I would stay away from that going into 2025. Type of winning user-generated content that I would, be looking to create is just organic type of content. Something you just see on the For You page or anything like that, barely mentions or tries to sell the product.
Truly boneless.
You can see here just going ahead and grilling some boneless wings, just absolutely crushed it. It's just an organic piece of content. And if you do authentic, reviews, just make sure it's authentic. It can be anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute 30 and just no B-roll editing, including some sort of reaction or a personal story, how they found out about it, why they bought the product, what they love about the product, something. Sometimes mention the competition. If they're like, hey, for example, this one here, it's just talking about scrubs here, biggest brand in the space is Figs. So there's just the big behemoth. you kind of got to mention them in the industry because literally, like, if you've heard of scrubs, you've heard of figs. Like, it's just the fact of the matter. So basically, this chick was basically saying, yeah, she's like, yeah, like, I own like 15 pairs of figs, but I just got these scrubs here, and they're literally like just so much better. They're so much more comfortable, and that just adds so much validity because, one, if someone's like, kind of comes across the ad and they've already kind of been looking and buying some scrubs, or they already own a couple pairs of figs and they're looking to buy another pair, that just like kind of hits them where they're at in the journey. They're like, okay, I already have figs. Like, this one's even better. And this chick sounds like she's a big fan of it. Okay, I'll give it a go. And any of these kind of like short clips, like 5 to 20 seconds, like B-roll footage with background music.
If I like it, I'll just grab it and
just do really well. Kind of, I guess I almost say organic style as well. Just like this here as well. Did you hear? Boom. She kind of pops out wearing a new style. It's just kind of a quick little clip. Anything like visual, problem focus, like just like, hey, showing off the teeth with stat, visually showing the product, and then just kind of demo videos as well. Any comedy, comedy just absolutely crushes. Authority figures as well. Red Seal Carpenter as an example, or like a doctor, anything like that. In my opinion, just more authentic. Just doing stuff that just doesn't scale as much. Getting customers involved much more. Giving them frameworks. And then just getting creative with just different organic pieces. So that's my kind of take on content here. I'm going into 2025. Optimizing your website properly. Now, I've made a few videos on this. Very, 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 very important. One is you want to make sure it's mobile optimized. So a cool little tricks to the trade here that you can do here. So if you're on Chrome, you can actually go ahead, click on this here on the top right here. So you can see here the 3 dots, and then go to more tools, and then go to developer tools. It's a very quick way to see what it looks like on mobile. Okay, so it's just kind of a really good way to kind of see what the journey looks like on mobile, which is, definitely very, very important. And then really, honestly, in my opinion, photos and descriptions are literally the 80-20 rule. It's just the facts of the matter. Like, you should spend way more time making sure your description is really good, spending way more time, maybe even investing in professional, photo content. Like you can see here at the Ridge, like, their photos are just extremely high quality. Like, look at this. It's just extremely high def. It's formatted absolutely flawlessly. They got the different angles, really just showing it off and all of that good stuff. So it's just, the photos just matter a lot. You also have to make sure it's quick and make sure that it loads really quick. I'd say sub 2 seconds is really, really optimal. You can basically just do like a website speed test. You can just kind of Google it. I mean, Pingdom, tools.pingdom.co. I've used this one here before. Really, really, really good one. And you can kind of see how fast it is. Like, we just load up a Ridge here just off the cuff. Actually, I'll go ridge.com. Okay, it just wants to redirect me. I'm in Canada, so that is why it's doing it. And then I would just go San Francisco, start test, load it up there. We'll give that a minute there. But yeah, you really want to make sure it's quick. Okay. Another one, I'm just going to show you here just another example here just to drive home these other points here. Go ahead and pull that up. What we found pretty much every single time for other things as well is all of these really make a big difference as well. So 3 icons below the add to cart button really make a big difference, like right here. Anything to do that kind of just, kind of relieve them a little bit. Like if you go to Pila Case, I'm pretty sure they have it as well. Yeah, so you can see here, ships in the studio, free shipping, made in Canada. Like, it's just like right before you're about to add in cart, you're like, okay, it's just not made overseas, and it's going to ship really quickly, and okay, you know what I mean? Like those kind of, I feel like they could maybe do like something better there, to be honest, but they're doing a lot of revenue, so they definitely know what they're doing for sure. But yeah, those really, really help. Make sure your add to cart button pops. Like, for example, Ridge, that one stands out there, and if you go in here, boom, it really, really pops, that add to cart button. This one here as well, you can see Pila Case, boom, the add to cart button, it sticks out, right? With this one here, it matches their branding up here, it sticks out. You want to make sure it pops. You do not want to make it like, the worst thing you possibly do is have it blend in. If you got a white background, do not have it as like a white button. You just do not want to do that. Preview the photos on mobile. So what I mean by this is, so you can see here, you can actually see the photos previewed. The reason why that's so important is because, once again, the photos are the 80-20 rule, part of it. And on mobile, which is where 90% of the traffic is, which is why you want it to be mobile optimized, you want them to be able to easily see the photos, and you don't want to have them like have to guess how to kind of swipe through. You want to make it just super seamless, very, very, very easy for them to scroll there, okay? Overall, just making sure above the fold is just dialed. So no wasted space, like wasted real estate. You should be able to see the photos, preview the photos, reviews, pricing, anything like there. Slightly below, boom, you're able to add to cart. Okay. Like you can see with Ridge, like on theirs, if you scroll down, like they're above the fold is just dialed. Like it's just, you know, you got the photos, you got the selection here. They literally have this software tool where you can actually insert some UGC videos, add to cart. They got the icons there, what I was talking about as well. So it's just pretty much right above the fold. You can slightly scroll and boom, add to cart's like right there. You got the reviews, the name, like it's just, you know, the above the fold on mobile is just dialed. Okay. Description is organized. What I mean by that is a good thing you can kind of do is organize in sections. Because the thing is, if we just had all this laid out like here, it would just be so much to scroll through. Let them kind of pick out what they want. Like for example, you know, shipping returns, which is another point as well. Include shipping returns in there. You do not want them having to leave the page to go do that. But not everyone really cares. But you know what I mean? So. But if they do, then they can kind of click on that and be like, okay, you know, it's going to be 3 to 4 business days, blah, blah, blah. Okay, if I have any issues, yada, yada, you know, helps right there. Perfect. Okay. And then you want to include any sort of ingredients, FAQ section, or anything like that. You know, we got the social proof here. We've got the icons here, you know, how it works, kind of visual. That's all kind of nice and dandy. And then reviews at the bottom, of course. You know, reviews down here. You got reviews on here. I guarantee you haven't even checked, but yeah, customer reviews. And then, yeah, I mean, with Ridge, they got, 53,000 reviews. That's kind of crazy. 53,000 reviews. That's, you know, very, very, very dialed. So, I mean, website stuff, very, 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 very important. Huge lever to pull for increasing your profitability and scalability. Which leads me to the next point, is you want to build landing pages to help increase your conversion rate. Unless it's solely just like a visual product, like fashion, as an example, like swimwear, jewelry, anything like that. No need to worry about it. But anything that requires any sort of demo, like explanation, like Ridge, you know, Hollow Socks, they send everything to landers. Pila Case, they send a lot to landers. Like, you know, Peapod, another example, you can send to landers. It's literally like just like the best way to literally like double your conversion rate overnight. These kind of different landers here. 80-20 rule for these is always going to be the headline and the photo at the top. It makes a big, big, big difference. You want to fit as much as you can. You want to make sure they're fast. A lot of the same principles honestly apply to, you know, having your website optimized properly, but with these landers, you know, they just make such a big difference. I mean, it's just, they work incredibly well. You can kind of tailor towards different audiences. You can also tailor towards different ads that you've done that have worked. So for example, if you're talking about, you know, you're in the hair care space and you're talking about dandruff and solving dandruff, you actually send them to dandruff specific landing page, if that makes sense. So that way the whole, everything is just so perfectly congruent, and that really helps, you know, basically help improve your conversion rate massively. It's just, once again, another massive lever to pull. And so, yeah, these are a couple of examples of those there. Number 8 is have a proper email marketing strategy. It actually surprised me how many brands just literally just forget about email and just don't even optimize it for it at all, which is completely just leaving a bunch of money on the table. Like it should probably account for about, you know, 30 to 40% of your revenue. Like it is just a massive channel. So really it's 3 things in my opinion. Is 1, making sure your pop-up, which is literally one of the biggest things for growing your list, is high converting. So I would say aiming for at least 5% on that, which is very, 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 very doable. And then making sure your flows are all set up and optimized properly, like your newsletter flow, you know, your site, browse, abandoned cart, abandoned checkout. Newsletter flow is when they sign up for the pop-up. You want to have like at least like 6 to 8 emails there. And then basically anyone who's like gone to the site but haven't gone to a product page, you know, that's basically what site 1 is. Browse, they've actually gone to a product page but they haven't added a cart. And then add to cart is when they've added a cart but they haven't checked out. And then, you know, if they've initially checked out but haven't bought yet, you want to be on top of them with all of that. Post-purchase is obviously after they purchase, you know, thanking them for their order, cross-selling, upselling other things, push them over to the SMS list. You know, there's lots that you can do with post-purchase. You know, ask for feedback surveys, ask for content, ask for reviews. Like there's a lot, but you really want to, you know, kind of nourish and engage with them after their purchase. And then sunset and win back. Sunset's basically when they haven't, but mostly for list cleaning and making sure you're not sending to profiles that just haven't, you know, basically been open in the emails. So very, very, very important. And then win back as well, as if they just haven't bought for like, you know, 6 months to a year, and just trying to win them back and get them to engage again. And then having a proper campaign strategy as well. So these are just all the flows, automating all your revenue, and then basically having a proper campaign strategy of, you know, 2 to 3 campaigns per week is really the sweet spot that we find for the brands that we do email for. And last but not least is expand out to more countries rather than just the US. I found a lot of brands that also focus on just the US. Canada, which is where I'm from. It's a great country to expand out to. Australia and UK, really, really, really good as well. Singapore and UAE are, in my opinion, very, very untapped, as well as the rest of Europe as well. Just kind of very untapped for a lot of the brands, are at least the North American brands I work with. I mean, if you're a European brand from, the UK or something, most times you're going to actually expand out to Europe pretty quick and then, wait to expand out to North America. But definitely, another huge opportunity for scale is just, expanding out to other countries rather than just being, stuck in your same country. So hopefully that all makes sense. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and, like and subscribe at the bottom. And hopefully, if you own a Shopify brand, you found these tips very, very helpful. Also, if you need a hand, from awesome people to grow your brand profitably, there'll be a link in the description from my website to book in a chat with yours truly, see if we can help you out. So other than that, appreciate you watching all the way to the end. I appreciate you a ton. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers for watching.